In this video, we're going to talk about key signatures, why they're important, and how to write them. You've already noticed that outside of C major and A minor, the other keys use at least one accidental. So imagine a piece in F major which uses a B flat. It would get unwieldy to have to keep writing the flat over and over every time the B appeared. The key signature is a way to tell you that the B will really be a B flat by default. If the composer needs a B natural, she would have to write it in specially. Likewise, if we're in G major, which uses an F sharp, we can have a key signature that makes all the Fs really F sharp by default. So here's an illustration of what I just talked about. So imagine that we're in F major and we're in 2/4. Etc., etc. Notice that I have to write the flats every time. So what happens with a key signature is we would write the flat B flat there, and that means that we could take that and that and that out, and we would understand that every time we saw the B there, there, and there, that we really meant B flat. If we meant B natural, then we would have to write it in especially the same way that we'd write an accidental for any other note. So that's how key signatures work. I would add to that, here's a key signature for G major, which uses an F sharp. Another feature of this is that it would cover every F on the staff, not just that one. So of course, this would be an F sharp, but so would that one. So that avoids having to write a key signature where we have to write a sharp over here for every possible register the F could be. The F sharp appears on the top line, but it also applies to the bottom space as well. And if there were ledger lines above and below that go to Fs, there would be F sharps as well. We've only studied 5 major and 5 minor keys, so it's hard to see trends. What we would find out is the following. First, there is no major or minor key that mixes sharps and flats. That is to say that the keys are either naturals and sharps or naturals and flats. It doesn't have a sharp and a flat in the same key signature. And secondly, no key uses an E flat without using the B flat as well, or uses a C sharp without using the F sharp as well. To generalize, there's an order in which the sharps or flats are added to make major or natural minor scales. So here's the order for the sharps. The first sharp is F, and then if there are 2 sharps, it's F sharp and C sharp, and then if there are 3 sharps, it's F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. And then the next sharp is D, the one after that is A, the one after that is E, and the last one B. So this means that a key that only needs 1 sharp note will use the F sharp. A key that needs 2 sharps, as I said, will use both of those, etc. You get the idea. It's not a coincidence that the flats are added in just the opposite direction from the sharps. So if you think of the order of sharps backwards, this is what you get. B, E, A, D, G, C, F. We have a way to remember the order of sharps or the order of flats. So we have a mnemonic for the sharps. Fat cows go down and eat barley. So here's F, C, G, D, A, E, B. For the order of flats, the first four form the word bead, and then GCF you can remember as greatest common factor, or if you want to avoid thinking about your old math classes, you can choose your own mnemonic for GCF. I don't know. Grills cook faster, go chase foxes, gulls can fly, whatever. Now let's see how they're written on the musical staff. So first I'll do it for treble staff. We write the F sharp up there, the C sharp there. Surprisingly, the G sharp doesn't go on the second line where it would make the most sense, I suppose, but instead it sits on top of the staff. That's also a G. And then after that, we use the spaces on the staff and the lines on the staff. So make sure that the box part of the sharp appears on the line or space that it's modifying. So F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp, B sharp. And that goes between the clef and the time signature. Okay, if I were doing this all over again, only doing the flats, and now they just alternate up and down. This one looks a lot more orderly than the other one. So notice there are like two diagonals there and there once you get started. And the closed part of the flat goes through the line or space that it's modifying. And just like the other one, it goes between the clef and the time signature. In bass clef, we have to move these down line to line or space to space down to reflect the notes on the bass clef. So that's where F sharp is, and then C sharp and G sharp and D sharp and A sharp and E sharp and B sharp. Or if I'm doing the flats, they follow the same kind of order there. Okay, so those are the patterns. It's important that you follow those patterns in the music you write, because what makes music notation effective is that whoever's reading it has everything in place the way they expect. That's what allows us to read music in real time while the music is playing. If something looks different than it did the last time, someone needs to stop and look at it to see why it's different, and that'll slow you down. So learn how to write things in this order, however many sharps or however many flats you're going to have in your key signature, so that whoever's reading it can do it easily. Okay, our last task for this video is to match up specific keys to their key signatures. So rather than give you too much at once, we're only going to cover the most common keys from 3 flats to 3 sharps. So while I wrote these 3 sharps on the top, 3 flats on the bottom, the one you're most familiar with is C major, A minor, no sharps or flats. And if we go up from here, G major, we'd write a key signature of 1 sharp, E minor also. D major, 2 sharps, and B minor goes along with that. And A major, 3 sharps, and F sharp minor, 3 sharps. Going in the other direction, a key signature of 1 flat would be F major or D minor. A key signature of 2 flats, B flat major or G minor. 3 flats, E flat major, or C minor. So how can you tell whether it's F major or D minor? When you listen to the music, you can tell. If something's in F major as opposed to besides the fact that the tonic would be in a different place, the color of the major versus the minor mode would be apparent to you. Okay, let's summarize. Key signatures are a way to show you are using particular accidentals over and over in that key. The order in which flats or sharps are added is regular. F, C, G, D, A, E, B for sharps, and then backwards B, E, A, D, G, C, F for flats. The key signatures are written in particular spots on the staff, and it comes after the clef and before the time signature, and that we can associate certain keys with their own key signatures. So for now, just to get started, learn the key signatures and keys that go with them for anything from 3 sharps to 3 flats and in between. And we'll cover the other ones later on once you get familiar with these. That's all for this video. Now go practice.